证明这一点。刚才会谈当中，我和亨特维尔大臣也达成共识，他刚才也谈到了，就是我们愿意同英方和各国一道，继续来共同维护多边主义的进程，维护全球的自由贸易体制和世贸组织的规则。我想强调的是，国与国的交往与人的交往是相同的，都要以信用为基础，以事实为依据，以规则为准绳。我想向大家介绍一些基本的事实，相信大家会做出客观和理性的判断。第一点，中美贸易不平衡的主要责任不在中方，因为贸易首先是一个市场的自发行为，中国从来没有强买强卖。贸易结构呢，又是国际分工的一个自然结构。中国的出口商品很多是最终的组装，其中大量的中间产品并不是中国生产的。此外呢，中美贸易不平衡还源于美元的国际货币地位，美国国内的低储。
The trade imbalances between China and the U.S. also comes from the imbalances and the restrictions on the high-tech products. So the trade deficit, the root actually lies in the U.S. itself. No matter the trade deficit or surplus, it cannot decide whether which country is the winner. Actually, the U.S. has won a lot in its trade with China and won a lot of low-cost products and increased its consumers' welfare. So, the loss theory of the U.S. is groundless. It's just like someone going to the supermarket and buying some products, and it still argues that I paid a lot on these products. This is non-logic. What's more, in China-US trade, especially in tertiary industry, China witnessed a trade deficit annually, which is over 50 billion yuan. And for the U.S. companies in China, they are of the U.S. brands. Their sales volume is above 600 billion US dollars, so you can see how much profits the U.S. has won. And China's trade surplus to the U.S., covering 60% of its U.S. companies' sales in China. For these trade surplus, only a few of them are from Chinese companies. That's mainly for the processing procedure. And third, the trade conflicts between China and the U.S. is ignited, provoked by the U.S. In this March, the U.S. started the 301 investigation on China, and it expanded and make it more tensed. China would not like to start a war, but for this pushing force from the U.S. side, China has to fight back. This is legitimate and lawful. And the fourth is the provocation of the U.S. on the trade war is lack of law and regulations. If there is any disputes, we can negotiate under the framework of the WTO dispute mechanism, but the U.S. only adopts its own national laws and regulations, which violates the principle of the WTO. And it also violates the promise made by the U.S. itself. This is the unilateralism and economic hegemonism. This is not unacceptable. This year witnessed several rounds of negotiations between China and the U.S. We achieved several consensuses. Regretfully, the U.S. never met its promise and take its responsibilities. The reform and opening up is China's basic principle. China always holds the open and dialogue policies, and China is always open for dialogues. But these dialogues should be based on fairness and mutual respect, and is within the legitimate framework. And the second question is on the Belt and Road Initiative. The ambassador from the UK also mentioned this. I really agree with his opinion. We always think the UK is a natural partner of China's Belt and Road Initiative, and many of the British people agree with this. While cooperating on the Belt and Road Initiative, the UK was the first one to apply for the membership in AIIB, and it also is the first investor to AIIB. Just now, I talked with Minister Hunt on Belt and Road Initiative's fund. We agreed to connect our strategic plans in law and financial fields, and also to explore and ink more agreements on Belt and Road Initiative, especially for the third-party market cooperation. We will also give full play to our advantages in the financial and the legal supports, so that to promote the relevant projects in the Belt and Road Initiatives with UK. After this initiative, it has won wide support from various countries. However, there are also misunderstandings. I want to reiterate here, Belt and Road Initiative is open and inclusive. We do not form small circles. No matter you are from developing countries or developed countries, and no matter there are 3 parties or 4 parties, we will cooperate and co-construct together. By multiple parties cooperation, we will not target at any certain countries, and we will not affect the current international cooperative mechanisms. Meanwhile, I also want to stress that the Belt and Road Initiative is also within framework. Of course, it will respect the common laws and regulations in the world. At the same time, we hope various parties can conduct a high-level, high-standard, high-quality, and green and environmental protected projects. China, the UK, and France has launched the nuclear station together. This is an example. We can also have other cooperative projects according to the local characteristics and its real demands. This is in accordance with our pursuit of high quality, high standard, and high efficiency. And next question, please.
Given that my colleagues from CCTV have asked extensively about trade, I hope you won't mind if I ask a question on a slightly different subject. Mr. Hunt, would it be fair to say that one country, two systems is rapidly deteriorating, and given the backdrop of that, increased pressure on human rights and political activists in mainland China, are you concerned that you'll have to compromise your position in these areas in order to ensure a healthy trading relationship with China in post-Brexit Britain? And for Councillor Wang, what guarantees have you been able to provide the Foreign Secretary that China will uphold one country, two systems?
Well, let me go first. We had extensive discussions about one country, two systems and the current situation in Hong Kong. And we had a very open and frank discussion about the concerns that have been raised by a number of people. We also, of course, discussed our trading relationship. And I think the best way to continue to grow our trade and strengthen trust between Britain and China is to be able to have the kind of open and frank discussions that we had this morning. Hong Kong is part of China, but of course we signed the joint declaration and we, as the United Kingdom, are very much committed to the one country, two systems approach, which we think has served both Hong Kong and China extremely well.
我也回答一下涉及到香港事务的问题。首先
Let me take your questions on Hong Kong.
香港事务就是中国的内政。
After the handover of the Hong Kong is one part of China's sovereignty.
那么不欢迎，也不会允许外国。
Firstly, we don't welcome and we will not allow foreign countries to interfere China's in domestic affairs. That's the same with other countries. The UK will also not allow other countries to interfere in its domestic affairs. And second, China will continue with its one country, two systems. This is the basic law. And we will continue to comply with this basic law.
香港的事务，也就是说。
In governing Hong Kong issues, that's one country, two systems. Hong Kong people govern itself and highly self-governance.
再有一点，
And what's more,
香港在一国两制的方针的指引之下，在不断地
within the one country, two systems framework, Hong Kong has constantly improved and developed. Hong Kong as an international financial center and also a shipping center, its position hasn't been affected.
透明度、
And the competitive power and openness and transparency of Hong Kong still ranks top in the world. This is also a practice and showcase of China's policy.
基本法继续会
And we hope in future we will continue to comply with the basic law and solve the issue on Hong Kong. Thank
谢
you.
谢王毅国务委员，谢谢亨特外交大臣。现在共建记者活动结束。
And thank you, Minister
谢谢记者朋
Wang.
友
Thank you, Minister Hunt. That's the end of the press briefing. Thank you.